guys, there's a reason why China doesn't allow that stuff in their nation, and why Russia doesn't allow it in their nation. Like, there's a reason why, because it's wholly destructive to the people. They're not even, I mean, Russia is sort of Christian. They're like Eastern Orthodox, but China's not Christian. Like, their government is atheist, you know, so it has nothing to do with it. It's like they understand that this is a practical reality. If you allow this sort of thing in your country, you will be destroyed. And so we're doing that. We're allowing it because I think in part the church is helping. We have too many people that they're inculcating this sort of liberal religion, this longhouse, doctrine, and are continuing to allow. And like you said, I think in many cases it is unknowingly, unwittingly. They don't really understand. They're just doing what they think is right, which is submitting to their pastors, or you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and they're being told that it's good. They're being told that this is right and good and honoring to the Lord. And so when you cast something that way, it can be very confusing for people because they, I think, inherently want to do what is good, and so that's perpetuating the confusion,
right?
Very intentionally.
Okay, so we kind of talked about that. There's the next phase of Grok's plan to destroy the Western nations of Christendom was demographic engineering. So that's what he called it, and their objective would be to reduce the white population of these nations through demographic replacement, lower fertility, and cultural assimilation. So encourage mass immigration is the first point. He said that he would leverage the openness of Western societies to push for large-scale immigration from non-European regions, Africa, Asia, and Latin America, and influence international organizations to frame this as a moral obligation, as seen with the 2015 migrant crisis. So, so that if there's any sort of pushback to this. Because I remember not too long ago, when Bill Clinton was president, when Barack Obama was president, like they would stand up and give these strong speeches about how they're protecting the borders and they're they're deporting because the people don't want this, and they never did. They still don't want it.
Yeah.
That's why President Trump, I think, was elected in 2016, because there was so much like a grievance against this. Because they would say these things, but then they'd still let the people in.
I think that's. I mean, we know now, in hindsight, those were steelman arguments. They were propping up what they knew to be true, when intentionally, I don't know that they ever really embraced that ideology.
Oh, absolutely not. Like Barack Obama saying that he believed marriage is between a man and a woman.
Right.
He's never believed that.
Right.
That's not right at all. I mean, these people are liars. They are unabashed liars, and they'll say that about Trump too, and whatever. I mean, Trump is not a godly man. He's not. He's not. He's not somebody that I would say, "Hey, look, Christian, this is the man."
No.
But what I am saying is that he is not on their team. So he's a threat to them in some way.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't emulate them, but guys, listen, we're in an existential contest here with these people, and they want us destroyed. They want us to have no power to stop them. When they're talking about eating the bugs or whatever, it's like 6 feet under. That's where they want us. Okay, and all of this is about that. I hope that you see that this sort of liberal religion that we're talking about, that none of our fathers, like none of the church fathers nowhere in the church would run this out. They would burn it out. Mm-hmm. They would not let it perpetuate like we have done. And time goes by so fast. At some point, we do bear responsibility. I think that you and I are currently at the age, we're elders of the church, so we actually do have the responsibility. It's on us now. But it's until just a few years ago, I still felt like I was barely could be called an adult. You know what I mean? Time just goes by so fast. And so I think that's what happened to some of our fathers too, that just kind of let this stuff slide. They weren't very serious about what was going on, or they were caught up in so many other things that they didn't think about it too much, or they didn't push on it or back on it too much. And let's just be totally honest, the amount of resources and power and stuff that are arrayed against us is immense.
Yeah.
It's daunting.
Yeah.
And so what can one man do? Well, he can stand firm on the word of God. That's it. If every one man did that, it's over for them. They lose. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If every man just knows and inculcates the word of God and stands firm on it, then they lose. So all you need to do is just do that. You need to study, be intentional, and seek the truth. And that's how we find it. Jesus said that if you abide in his word, then you are really his disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Yep. So how do you know the truth? You have to abide in his word so that you can be his disciples. So that's what we have to do. If every one of us does that, it's over. We win. So make sure that you're carving time out every day. Like, you want your kid to be good at baseball, and if that's something that they is valuable to you, you go out and have them play catch every day, or hit heavy balls or whatever. Mm-hmm. But are you doing that with the Word of God? Are you yourself? Are you doing it with them? Are you having them read the Word of God? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same sort of thing. Like, the baseball doesn't even matter at all. Like, this does. It has long-term effects for our posterity, and for even for ourselves right now. What's going to happen to our children if we don't do this? And so you can kind of see as we go through this, I'll just say some of the other things. He said would lower the white fertility rate. So our fertility rate is like 1.6 or something. It's way below replacement here. And in the rest of the world, it's really bad too in a lot of places, except for in the places where they're importing these people to destroy our nations. Like, they're making sure that those fertility rates are staying high enough so that they can continue to flood in. And listen, this is what will happen. Okay, if these people really are the type of people we're talking about, okay, like Africa, for example, their population remained low for a long time. Mm-hmm. You know why that is? That they remain low because they couldn't grow enough food to support a lot of people. Like, they were hunters and gatherers, or like subsistence farming, like really simple farming. And you still have that problem, like in former European countries like Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, or South Africa, where they like killed all the white farmers and took their land. Now they're begging them to come back because they don't have anybody that's skilled enough to run these farms. So they're totally dependent on Western aid. What do you think is going to happen once they destroy us to these places? They're just going to cut off the aid, and they're all going to die. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? These are evil people, and they're trying to get us to inculcate these values or whatever. They're not values. They're meant to destroy us. And then, it's like I said, it's completely satanic. And we have to change our minds about this, guys. We have to. People don't have, the government doesn't have your best interest in mind. They definitely don't, because they're infiltrated with all these people. That's why they don't do what the people want. Why, if people don't want there to be mass immigration, why is there mass immigration in all these countries still? Yeah. They don't care what you want, because they're serving they've been installed by these people. So another thing is to promote interracial mixing, which we talked about, like with the commercials, how you'll hardly ever see a commercial with just a black family or an Asian family or a white family just by itself, which you used to in the past. Mm-hmm. But now it's almost always an interracial family every single time. Yeah. Why is that? Well, Grok's saying that he would do that, to try to destroy a nation. So, and then phase 3 is economic and political subversion. So it's talking about how trying to weaken us economically and politically. One of the ways is by exporting all of our manufacturing and stuff to other countries that are hostile to us, so that we are dependent on people who are hostile to us in order to get things that we need. So is that the case right now? It is. Mm-hmm. I mean, we get almost everything, all of our pharmaceuticals and stuff from China. Yeah, and I mean, that's medicine that people need. Like, we don't, we've exported a lot of our manufacturing to these other places, so we've made ourselves dependent on these people who are openly hostile to us. And so, I think that's what one of the things that President Trump's trying to do with these tariffs right now is make it so expensive for companies that they have to come back and manufacture in the United States, because otherwise they're going to pay 100%, 150% tariff on their stuff, and nobody's going to buy it because it'll be too expensive. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the Chinese microwave that you might have bought for like $90 or whatever is going to cost $300 now. And the American one, Chinese one was $90, the American was $250. Now the Chinese one's $350. So they're going to be like, oh, we're going to come back here and manufacture so we can sell it so we can undercut this other American, but then they're American too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it helps. It's going to hurt in the long term because you're going to be paying a lot more money for some stuff because we don't have the manufacturing here yet. But they, over time, and it might take a long time. Might take 50 years. It's going to take a whole lot more than 4 years that Trump's in power. But I think, guys, if something doesn't change soon, you're going to see some real serious bad stuff. Because people aren't just going to peacefully become this Babelian blob. They're going to fight each other for, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what happens in history. It's not this other thing. Like I said, Satan doesn't know how to do everything perfectly. He's just doing stuff to see if it works.
Yeah. And
it's not going to work because who placed the boundaries around men? God did. Right, God did.